Welcome to Big Boy Crypto, home of the BitSquad, the largest and greatest and most debatous crypto community in all of the interwebs. And we're looking forward to seeing you in Vegas tomorrow, BitSquad members. And this is Around the Blockchain. We come to you Monday through Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm your host, DZ. And we got some great topics and we got some great guests. We're going to get right into the guests. We have Jebb. When he's not raiding Area 51, you can catch him out on a YouTube channel. He does some great interviews, really great content. Also, we have Altcoin Daily. They told you the next Axie Infinity yesterday, so you got to go to their channel. You got to check that out. I mean, they're telling you these gems. Okay, so definitely check them out. And we have CryptoBusy. Luckily, not too busy to be here, but it's been a while, so we're glad to have you back. And obviously, I might be a little biased, but good job on the debate today, Ben Armstrong. That's right. The Twitter, it's all a buzz. All of crypto Twitter's talking about it. Ben, I know Altcoin Daily wanted to ask a question or two. How'd you feel that went?
Yeah, I mean, I think it went well for us. I think that, and I'm not saying that, so some people are saying it was like, I won, I crushed them. That's not what I'm saying. I just mean, I think I represented myself well, represented our community well. And, it's very transparent about everything I believe. I got fired up. Obviously, there's nothing I hate more in this world than being mischaracterized. And we got all the information out there. And I think it was good. And we're going to pump on the channel, down the road here in a few weeks. And, I mean, it's not good. Hopefully this argument is over, but by the end of the show, we decided, it's over between us in terms of, this, his viewpoint and mine. We made ourselves clear, and it is what it is.
All right. Altcoin Daily, I know you had a comment or two.
Sure. I watched it live. I mean, that's why I subscribe to both BitBoy Crypto and Anthony Pompliano's channel. Awesome content. I do like what you said. Yeah, it's kind of over. You guys ended it fairly amicably. I hope you guys gained more common ground than lost common ground. It felt like things were pretty much okay. I mean, as you said, one of my videos on my channel recently, the next Axie Infinity, is it really? Nobody knows. Maybe it's a little bit clickbait-ish, but that's just, don't hate the player, hate the game. I think this is what I think. I think Pomp, and huge respect to Pomp, like him, huge respect to BitBoy, I like him. I think Pomp focused too much on the clickbait thing, and he wouldn't give any ground when you said, hey, you do, Bitcoin to 20 million, you do the same kind of thing. And that's fine. That doesn't represent everything said in the video. It's to get people to click on the video. And the fact that he didn't give up any of that ground, I felt like a lot of people didn't like that when Pomp didn't do that. It's like, I felt like he should have given up that ground. And then maybe he could have said what he really felt, which he kind of hinted at. I think what he really feels is, I talk about things that are safe and going to be here. You talk about things that have a little bit more risk. And in my opinion, Pomp's opinion, maybe they're shit coins or scams, stuff like that. Maybe that's opinion, maybe that's not. I felt like that's what he really wanted to say. But he was too political, too nice, and he focused on the clickbait, and he lost a little bit of ground in that. But overall, you guys both handled yourself really well.
Yeah.
Well,
go ahead.
I do want to say, he kept bringing up this Dogecoin video that I made where the title was Dogecoin to $5. Well, I couldn't remember what I said in that video, to be honest with you, because it was so long ago.
I remember it.
As you guys know,
it was Matt, the Dogecoin guy, was the one saying $5, yes. Not you at all.
Yeah, so Matt Wallace, who we like, Matt Wallace, a Dogecoin guy, he said that he believes it could go to $5. That video was actually me explaining why I did not believe that it would go to $5, and talking about Matt's opinion on it. And, to me, it was said on the show, I'm certainly not accusing him of being a liar or anything like that, but it was said on the show that, they watched all these videos. Well, it's very clear in my opinion that, there was something missed in that, if that was what that video was about. And they were saying that I was telling people to buy Dogecoin at the top, which was absolutely not true. So I think, that was a little more misrepresentation, but like I said, it's over now. We're going to move on. He's going to come on the channel. We're not going to talk about this issue. We'll just talk about, regular stuff going on in crypto. He is a smart guy. And I think it is important to note, we're way more on the same side than we're on different sides. And I think that's the thing in crypto. Sometimes we have a lot of infighting because we have different opinions on things, but overall we all have the same goals.
Yeah, and you cannot find one YouTuber that does not use some sort of clickbaity title. And just out of curiosity, I said, who is the least likely to have some sort of clickbaity title? The name that came to my mind was Benjamin Cowan. I literally just looked 5 days ago, Bitcoin heading into a parabolic rally. I mean, he's saying, so literally it's just something we all do. And I love Benjamin Cowan. He's really, really great, really, really brilliant, smart guy. And it's just a thing. We want to educate the maximum amount of people. And the way we do that is with a clickbaity title. And that's just how it is. It's just how the algorithm works. Don't blame us. Blame YouTube. That's all I'm going to say. Don't blame us.
100%.
Yeah. All right. Well, before we get into topics, let's check out the market watch real quick. I know you've been waiting. All right. That's right. That black and white plane is flying around the globe here. And Bitcoin almost, no, I don't want to say crashing, but it is going down a little bit. It's retracing some of its gains. It has been on a parabolic run up lately. Ethereum back below 4,600, but still holding support at 4,500. So looking really, really good. If we look at some of the top gainers, Telcoin, ECAT, 20% there, 15%, OMG, Ravencoin, RIP my Raven wallet, where I mine a little bit of Raven. So sorry, Nick Diamandi, I let you down. I lost my wallet. Shiba down 20%. Again, I mean, these are why we warn you about these meme tokens. Now, Jebb, I'm going to jump to you and ask about SHIB specifically. I know you've talked about it. Your community asks you about it almost nonstop. The rundown, it's been pretty scary. It's came down. It's retraced a lot. Are we entering what you would consider an accumulation zone, or is there still, like another 80% that could dump in the next month? What's your thoughts on SHIB?
It's funny. On our morning stream today, we got a super chat that said, Jebb, can you give us your price prediction on Floki Doge Shiba Inu swap? Is it going to $5? And I was like, I'm pretty sure that's not a real cryptocurrency. But considering how crazy the last year has been, I have to check. So I checked on stream. Sure enough, it wasn't. But yeah, I can look at Shiba Inu real quick as far as the technicals are concerned. If you guys are interested in that, if you want, I will go ahead and show my screen.
Chat, I'm sure is interested. They're actually already typing it. So
do they want to? Yeah, no. All right. Well, let's see my screen, and then I will show you guys what SHIB is doing. I want to preface with, I don't think it's a good idea to buy SHIB. I am doing this because I have been asked to by DZ, the master of the show. All right?
Blame me.
I got that out of the way. Yeah. Blame DZ, not me. DZ, SHIB rallied 1,200% in 29 days, and it has been undergoing a pretty large correction from, I'm just going to call it 9,000, down to about 4,700. It's down 50%, and there's a good reason it's down 50%. In my opinion, I don't think it's worth a whole lot, and I think it's mainly driven by hype, which, yes, can moonshot a price, but it's very difficult for that hype to maintain price action over the long run. Take a look at this, guys. It's definitely having trouble. I think I can leave it at that. If we look at the daily chart, I'll look at a couple of the different indicators. Although, to be honest with you, basically the only thing that really matters on Shiba Inu are basic support and resistance levels, because if you want to say one chart where you can throw the chart out, it's Shiba Inu because it's a complete meme coin. But nevertheless, we did have a bearish MACD cross. For any of our analysts out there, that's obviously not a good thing. RSI got overextended. If we're going to see it correct, then it's probably going to correct down to a support level right around here, which is at 3,200. If you do think it's going to continue moving to the downside, which I think it's going to because it broke bearish out of this bull flag, it's probably going to go down to about 3,200. So no, I don't think the correction's over. But then again, I'm not exactly the foremost expert on Shiba Inu either.
All right, and Razmataz in Twitch chat, look at Jebb shilling SHIB. Yeah, that's the reaction we get. That's the reaction.
Somebody call Pop.
All right. Well, we're gonna talk about some crypto cities popping up. We're gonna talk about the metaverse. Is it the new work from home? I know some of the lazier people don't want that to be the case, and smart money buying blue chips. But let's get right into the crypto cities popping up. There's a new mayor elect in New York City, the largest by population city in America. And they're also Bitcoin friendly. They have the laser eyes. They're much like Suarez. They're talking to Suarez. They want to move New York to a more crypto-friendly state, more crypto-friendly city. Those who know anything about New York politics, the city mayor has a lot of influence over the state politics. So they will have a little bit of power to shape the state regulations. But would a mayor's view on a crypto? See, busy here. You're overseas. If a mayor's view on a crypto, say you just didn't like your town, you're looking to move. If the mayor was just super pro cryptocurrency, they had a city coin, would that influence your decision on where you move?
I would say I probably wouldn't choose to move somewhere just based on that, because it could be an awful place to live apart from that. But I would say it definitely is good for opening people's eyes when it comes to crypto in general, and people that already live there, that could get them into it. So I think in terms of adoption, I think it's a really good thing. I think we may see more money flowing into crypto, into Bitcoin, into Ethereum, whatever. We may see more positive news come out that may drive the price higher. And as we know, with such a speculative market, such an emotional market, it's things like this that can actually be quite a good benefit. But I would say also, be wary about these kinds of things, because it's not always a good thing. We when we have things like this is when, if you know about like the fear and greed index, for example, this is where we start to push into kind of extreme greed. It's when everyone starts talking about cryptocurrency, everyone starts getting really hyped about it. And yes, it means we can go on a run for a while, but it's when you have people that don't usually start talking about it, that's when you need to be a little bit worried sometimes. So I would also have my reservations, but I also like it from a fundamental point of view of more awareness and more potential for adoption.
Okay, so for you, the main takeaway there is we get good advertising versus the utility of I get to pay a parking fine and some Cardano. Or something. So, okay, I like that. Now, Ben, I want to ask you this because I know you love the New York politics when it comes to crypto. What do you think the main thing is that's preventing New Yorkers from accessing crypto and having trouble accessing crypto? And I hear it all the time. I live in New York and I can't do XYZ. So what do you think the main obstacle is in New York?
The state line.
Okay. All right. So not the banking sector, bribing politicians, not the governor.
Oh, we would never accuse scammers of scamming. There's no way. That's not really possible. Yeah, I mean, obviously this is being driven. It's kind of like, this is the last holdout. This is the last battle. What was the last battle of the battle of big what was the one that was out west between the Native Americans? Custard's last stand. This is Custard's last stand when it comes to crypto, and adoption. The banks, they understand time. Let me tell you guys a funny story. This is actually a really funny story. So on Sunday night, I was at the Braves game in Atlanta. Turned out very sad, but overall, we're very happy about what happened. Atlanta Braves, World Series champs. But anyways, the point here is, I was actually sitting next to my friend Brian, who went to almost all the games with me, and right in front of us, there were 4 Astros fans. Okay, now these were not just regular Astros fans. Now we have very good seats. So these are high dollar seats. They were going for about $5,000 on resale, and they bought those on resale, and so they had some money. And we asked them something. They said, "Oh, we flew private to get here." I was like, "Okay, these guys have some money." So then they said, well, our owner's a real nice guy. And I was like, oh, okay. They said he's sitting right up there. The owner of the Astros was sitting on the front row of our section. As the owner of the Astros walked up the steps, he turned and talked to these people by name. So he's a billionaire. Okay. So these are very high level individuals. So I asked him what they do. And what do you think he said?
Banking.
I'm a banker. I'm a banker. And I said, oh, you're a banker? Well, I'm a crypto guy. I actually have the biggest Bitcoin. I said, you're my mortal enemy. I actually have the biggest Bitcoin channel. I kid you not. I kid you not. This is not a joke. Ask my friend that was there. It got extremely uncomfortable. And his wife looked over at him and kind of had to give him some eyes like, do not say anything. Do not say anything. The bankers do not like us. Even if they're friendly in some regards, they do not like what we do here in crypto. They do not like Bitcoin. And that comes out. Look, the same reason why Jeff Bezos never wanted Amazon to do crypto, they made their money in the old system. They want to keep it the old system. They hate the transfer of wealth. They hate that people are wisening up to the scams of banks and Wall Street as well. That's all involved in that. And so, yeah, the people in New York are pretty much screwed. But I mean, if you live in New York, no offense, but I don't know why you haven't already moved. If you don't have the means to move, I understand. Obviously, you have to have means to move. If you have the means to move from New York or California, you have not done so yet, I don't understand.
Go ahead, Altcoin.
He lives in California.
Oh, yeah, I was just saying I live in California. Still here. Thank God we're in a bull market. I have the means now, but am I going to move? I don't know. My family's here. Anywho, did you want me to follow up to this?
Well, I mean, I was just in New York with Justin Williams, and we were kind of discussing the same thing. Like, if you have the means, like, I do not understand why you would stay in there. But I mean, one more question on that. With these city coins, altcoin, let's just say they started popping up in California. What would a good utility for a city coin be to you? I mean, is it just, paying parking tickets? Is it, you might be able to stake it? Is it the ability of the coin might go up and you might just get, paid to live somewhere? What would excite you as far as a city coin utility?
Yeah, to be honest, the city coin thing. And by the way, I didn't get any points for my awesome hot takes on the pump Bitcoin thing. I get
I
zero
didn't
points for that.
I didn't release any points during that thing because I didn't know how long we were going to talk about. But here you get 3 real quick if that'll make you feel
All right,
better.
appreciate that. Anyway, I mean, I guess I'd be excited since I'm in crypto, excited about anything crypto centric moving in that direction. I don't fully understand, the value prop of these city coins. I guess they'll help the city raise money. I guess if you hold them, you get a share of that money. It kind of just seems like a loyalty program that the city's doing. Obviously, it's going to be run by them. But to be honest, I don't really know. Speaking of like, you guys ever notice, kind of like to pivot a little bit, this is a question for BitBoy and just everybody. You guys ever notice how, because I love Bitcoin only, Bitcoin maximalist content, but if something's a Bitcoin and crypto story, they'll only say, oh, this is a win for Bitcoin. And they'll never say, just like, oh, huge win for Bitcoin because of the Bitcoin mayor, but they won't say how he's like, really into crypto too. I just think it does kind of like a disservice to people like listening, because then if you only listen to the Bitcoin only content, you'd really never know that this guy is crypto centric, or just the many stories where Bitcoin and Ethereum gets accepted. Did you guys notice that at all?
Yeah, and not only that, if you're only investing in Bitcoin, you might miss out on those 100x opportunities, those 20x opportunities. I believe you will get your 2x, and you wait 4 years, probably maybe even a 5x. But yeah, I mean, going only into Bitcoin, I mean, I feel personally, I'm very diversified, so that's just me. Ethereum is my biggest bag, so I'm a real big fan of that.
And there's nothing wrong with only going to Bitcoin. It's just that I just feel like the way that sometimes these Bitcoin only people present the story, if it's a Bitcoin crypto story, they'll only say Bitcoin. And then the people who when I listening to that content, I then like, oh, there's way more to the story. I need to get my information elsewhere, because they won't even mention that it's also like a crypto story. That's just my personal opinion.
And just right before we go to the last topic here, I did want to mention Wyoming actually has a city popping up where it's a DAO, where they're releasing 10,000 NFTs. It's all fractionalized ownership. They're buying 40 acres. So you buy this NFT for a quarter ETH. It's about $1,000, maybe a little bit more, 1,200. And you're actually, they're buying this plot of land in Wyoming. And I'll just ask everybody real quick: is Wyoming even around? Does it exist? Does Wyoming exist? Has anyone been to Wyoming here?
I have flown over Wyoming.
Okay. Ben's been there. All right, Ben has confirmed that it is real. Okay.
Wyoming, in my opinion, by the way, Wyoming, in my opinion, the most beautiful state in the United States.
It is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Justin Williams, he's always watching some movie with it. Jake Gyllenhaal and the Joker. He's always watching. So I always see
Did you say it was Jake?
Office.
He was always watching the movie with Jake Gyllenhaal and okay, Heath Ledger. That's the guy.
Yeah, he's always watching that movie. So he's always talking about Wyoming this, Wyoming that. Justin Williams, if you're watching, that was for you. All right, well, let's go to the second topic here. Metaverse, is that the new work from home? We're seeing an explosion in work from home since what happened a couple years ago. It just seems to be increasing. I mean, just today we had 2 people call out sick. Steve, Holly, I'm talking about you two. So, Steve, he's going to work from home. So KuCoin has launched a virtual office for a metaverse for people so they can work from home, but then still work in an office and still collaborate. Now, well, all right, Busy, you seem to be, I think you're living in a metaverse right now, just judging by your background. Do you think in the future all work from home is eventually going to be some sort of like camera metaverse type of situation, or is it still just going to be, I'll send you the email at 12?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough one. I think obviously with what happened with the pandemic and everything, we've seen a shift to this kind of online work environment, and that's saving a lot of business money on offices, on buildings. I mean, I know personally a lot of people were saying that their companies have just spent so much money on offices that haven't been used. So I think we're going to definitely see more of a shift through to that online sense. I don't think we'll ever, well, maybe one day in the far future, we may see a complete shift. But I think for now, it'll probably be a hybrid, just because I think there's always some people that are going to need that kind of personal interaction, face-to-face, to operate best. I know I personally prefer that. And on top of that, though, I think, it's a great thing that this metaverse, and, we've seen Facebook changing their name to Meta. We've got the whole metaverse thing suddenly becoming super mainstream. And it seems that no one really knew what it was a couple of days ago, but then ever since Facebook talked about it, now suddenly it's on everyone's tip of their tongue. And I think we're also going to see it saving space, saving money. So from a financial aspect and as a business owner, I know that it definitely is a good thing. And yeah, I think we'll definitely see it more of a shift, but I do still think it will be somewhat of a hybrid for the near future.
All right. Well, you bring up Meta. I'm calling it Facebook. You know what? I'm calling it the Facebook. It'll be 20 years from now. I'm gonna call it the Facebook. So their chief product officer actually spoke about a metaverse. Since you're bringing it up here, and here's what he had to say about the kind of the work from home and the metaverse overall. I started having my staff meetings in workrooms, and the reason it's better is because you get to see body language. You get to use your hands. It's a huge part of how you communicate, and you can even lean in and sort of change your attention based on posture. Now, Jebb, I mean, you have plenty of employees. Will just imagine you got people, they're working, instead of working in a foreign country or a different state, you see their activity in a 3D metaverse. You get to see if they're, sitting at a desk.
Yeah.
Do you think this will increase or decrease productivity?
I think that it's going to make work from home a lot more realistic. As CryptoBusy said earlier, it's become a much more common thing. I have 16 people on staff. Today, only 3 of them were in office. Now, granted, several people are on vacation, but we have 3, 4, 5, something like that, people that work fully remote. And then our marketing team, they work half remote. They do 2 days in office and then 3 days at home. And what I've found as a small business owner is that the best thing that you can do is you can balance the two. You can have people work from home for a certain amount of time, but then come into work for 2 to 3 days so that you're able to have those innovative ideas where, hey, I'm walking to the vending machine and then I pass, a marketing officer and I'm like, hey, I have an idea. And then I have an idea. And then that's where innovation comes from. A lot of tech companies realize that over the last 2 years since what happened at the beginning of last year. Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Apple, all these companies realize, hey, work from home is going to save us a lot of money in offices, but it's also going to decrease our ability, one, to communicate effectively. That's happened with masks because it's been very hard for us to read facial body language and facial, syntax and everything. But 2, when you're working from home, it's very difficult to do that as well. It's well known in the social sciences. The communication is only like you'll get different numbers from every single different social scientist, but it's like 15% verbal, 20 or 30% body language, and then a lot of it's context, inflection. There's so many different parts of it other than your actual words. So a metaverse is, in my opinion, the only way that fully remote work from home is ever going to be realistic. There's still going to be major investments in office space. And I think it was the chief product officer, I forgot who it was in the C-suite of the Facebook. They said in a report in 2018 when they started moving in this direction that the metaverse is ours to lose. And frankly, they're right because they have Oculus. If they solve the problem of not being able to, gesticulate with all your hands and read body language and read facial expressions and still allow people to innovate while also saving on office space, then Meta, if you want to call it that, will be the largest company in the world.
Yeah, Meta wants to give everyone the shaft for sure. The chief product officer, his name's Chris Cox, by the way. So that's who we were referring to there. Now, Ben, I mean, you got plenty of employees. Again, I'm gonna throw Steve under the bus. Do you see that? Will there be some pushback from employees? Do you think that they might not want to? And I know the Oculus will be smaller then. Maybe it's just like looks like glasses or something. Do you think there'll be a pushback from employees who say, you know what, I'm not comfortable with this, or will they just be okay with it because they don't have to go to the office?
Well, I'm really concerned about people with weak necks.
We're all going to look like Goldberg. We're going to look like Goldberg, the famous wrestler from the 90s.
It'd be like put it on, you just fed straight down. I think, yeah. Look, I hate remote work. Really, we have some of our employees that do remote work, but most of our a big part of the synergy that we've been able to achieve here at BitBoy Crypto is due to having people come in the office. And I'm just not that interested in having people that aren't working here because it's a synergy thing. And so look, there can certainly be some synergy in the metaverse or people working together, but this is going to be years down the road. I mean, at first it's going to be very primitive and you're not going to have that. So people shouldn't be expecting to drop their jobs tomorrow. And I'll tell you what I kind of think we're going to see as we head towards deflation at the end of this year. This affects the job market. This actually makes it to where, companies are losing their purchasing power and they're having to charge more or they're charging less for their items. So they're actually making less profit, which leads to them having less workers. As you all know, or I hope that you know this, in the United States, we've had a huge problem with the workforce. Especially for retail stores. That's why stores are closed. Restaurants are closing earlier. They're understaffed, right? Well, a lot of these people are just like, hey, I'll just go work remote and I'll be able to get a much higher paying job. Well, when that deflation kicks in, this unemployment really starts to move the opposite direction, we're going to see a lot of people that are going to be scrambling to work because the pandemic money is over. The stimulus money is over. The money printing is tapering right now as we speak. It's actually already been on a decline. And so I think what we're actually like, workers right now, this is the best way for me to say this. Workers right now feel like they have all the power. That's going to change dramatically over the next year. And they're actually going to end up giving up more power than they've ever had before. The employers are going to go right back into being in a position of power. Now, that doesn't mean that we're not seeing a changing like hybrid workforce of remote and in person. But I think it's more likely most jobs you will be going in person a few days and you might be doing remote a few days. I think a lot of places are going to move away from this, remote only. Now, there are certain jobs out there, there's certain careers out there that people do remote, and they've done remote forever, but every job doesn't work remotely. And what they're saying is I talk to people that have switched to remote only. They're saying that kind of what we said earlier in this, when I first started talking, is they lose the synergy. The work production is about the same, but the new ideas drop, they crash.
All right. And go ahead.
Well, I was talking to the CEO of a $120 million company the other day, and they're fully remote. They've got, 15, 20 people on staff, and they're all over the world. They got people in France. They got people in the UK. They got people in Saudi Arabia. They got people in Dubai. They got people in America. And the issue that they're running into is it's very, very difficult for the team to collaborate because you're remote. For us, everybody has to be in office on Tuesday, and everybody has to be in office on Friday. We do culture building things. We do unity. Sometimes we play games to build that unity. And that's the funny thing that I see happening with the metaverse here is that the metaverse is really targeting big tech and software companies. But the thing is, big tech and software companies are the exact companies that need you to be in person so that they can continue to innovate on these ideas. So there's a bit of a clash between the product and the actual demand and the customer, in my opinion.
And he said Unity, not Unifty. And congratulations, everybody jumped in Unifty off our recommendation. It's up 50% today. So just want to say that. Altcoin Daily, before we went live, you said, I can't wait to talk about KuCoin. I know you love KuCoin. You're very familiar with KuCoin. Now, KuCoin, they seem to be, they're leading the space here. They want to do a giant skyscraper. It's going to be 21 floors to represent 21 million Bitcoin. So it's going to be on top of Blocktopia, but they're going to branch out to Polygon and Avalanche. So with this, I mean, would you consider this bullish for KuCoin, or would you say it's like a gaming coin who's saying, oh, we got a game Q3 next year and it's not going to do anything? What do you think this is going to do to KuCoin's short term?
No, I think it's positive for KuCoin. Just like when Kraken was getting into Decentraland, I thought that was positive because it's, really builds community around KuCoin and around people doing that stuff. I think generally speaking, only recently did I really get on board with like, oh, maybe the future is like Ready Player One. Maybe the future is like in the metaverse, as it were. Because I just think, especially with the pandemic that happened, I think just like how that was bullish for Bitcoin and how people's perception changed, I think that's also bullish for just digital in general. And everybody had to learn how to use Zoom. That was the first step. And, from there, it's like a short step to like, well, let's just do it in the metaverse. Let's just do it in virtual reality. And then the next question is the metaverses that we're thinking about in the future, are they going to be more decentralized like, what KuCoin's doing, or like Decentraland, or maybe, is Facebook's metaverse just going to be like a VR simulation and then you can bring in your NFTs? That's the big question. Nobody really knows how it's going to look. I agree with BitBoy in that it's, kind of far away, but I think generally it's exciting.
Yeah. And just my parting thought on that, everything almost, is you can do work from home, but except for creative, you definitely need to be in the same room with somebody. But all right, let's get to this last topic. We're talking about some smart money here. The smart money, they're doing some things. They're rejecting some things. And I have a little chart here I want to share if we can real quick. These are assets for Genesis. Genesis, it's a crypto investment company. And this is just representing 4 quarters. So we look at last year, their allocation for Bitcoin was 53%. Oh, now it's dropped all the way down to 32%. Don't ask me why they have Bitcoin Cash. Actually, I do know why. Mac and Cheesy brought up a good point. It's easier to just go with what worked last quarter than put your neck out there and risk getting fired saying, no, we should sell our Bitcoin Cash and get Solana. That's just asking, if you just don't rock the boat, you might not get fired. So that's kind of why you see some Bitcoin Cash or, Litecoin or something like that. But Ethereum has doubled 15% to 32%. ETH Cash. ETH Cash, thankfully, has dropped down. They're probably chasing the Robinhood pump. And I mean, since they got out, I say, you know what? Good job, guys. You got out. So we're seeing institutions, they're getting away from Bitcoin, you know, kind of speaks on what happened this morning. So, Ben, I mean, you had a good debate. You know, I'm bringing it to you here. When it comes to branching outside of Bitcoin for gains, what are some of these other coins that are favored by these large institutions, by these whales? What do they like?
What do the whales like?
Yeah.
The whales like stuff that they can move. Now, we actually looked at a very interesting chart. TJ sent it to me. I don't have it pulled up right now, but it was showing actually the amount of allocation for each coin that was given to the public, that was given to insiders, and that was given to foundations. And then there was a couple other categories. But the interesting thing is Cardano, right? Like, and you start to see why Cardano gets so much hate. Cardano is almost 100% public. It's like 95% of the coins. I don't know the exact number. Maybe it's not 95%, but it, out of all the ones we were looking at, it had by far and away the largest amount of the public that were the original investors in it. When you look at Solana, Solana is about 50% insiders. And so you really start to figure out the things that we talk about and how they come to fruition. So, you know, it's hard for the institutions to pump coins that have heavy public. And then when you combine that with the fact that Cardano has 71% of its coins locked up in nodes or staked, you know, these are not the kind of coins the institutions necessarily want to pump. Now they're trying. The institutions are pouring into Cardano and pouring into Solana at the same time. But the whales are looking for things that have staying power. They're also looking for things that are going to be somewhat predictable, right? Because if you have 50% of the people that own the coin are insiders, there's not high motivation for them to sell outside of the very, very top of the market, right? You don't want a coin, if you're an institution, that overnight, like several people might just hear a FUD story and go start selling and tank the price. So they're looking for stability and they're looking for long-term, and they're looking for things that they can steadily move upwards.
Yeah, I saw that same chart, and it was Cardano and Ethereum at the top of the list with the highest percentage went public. It was above 85%, maybe below 95. I think it was around 87 or something like that. They're about a 1% difference between those two coins.
I was just going off memory.
Yeah, you look at Solana, you look at like even Avalanche, some of these other coins, I was very, very surprised on those levels. So, I mean, they had it. It was a quarterly report, but I actually had someone in the office. I'm not going to say who it is. I'm actually looking at them. And they said, what is a blue chip? What do you mean by a blue chip crypto? So Busy, just for the people watching at home, you know, we're saying blue chips. We're not talking about the Shaquille O'Neal movie with Nick Nolte. What does it mean to be a blue chip crypto, Busy?
Well, I think it's, you know, in terms of, like you said, in terms of cryptocurrency, I mean, people aren't familiar with, I guess, blue chip. We haven't really classified cryptocurrencies in that sense. So obviously, you're looking at the most likely the top 100. You're looking at some big cryptocurrencies that people probably believe are too big to fail almost. I mean, obviously anything can fail. It's US or whatever, but we're going to be looking at the projects that people have looked at for a while now. They've shown resilience, they've shown stability, they've shown themselves to be some of those top companies, and you know, proved it with whether that's fundamentals or the price going up, whatever it may be. So I think that's what we really mean when we say that. And I think really interesting. I mean, I personally love the fact that institutions are getting more into diversification. I think Bitcoin's great. Don't get me wrong. I own a lot of Bitcoin, but Ethereum for me is my biggest holding. I own a lot of altcoins. I personally think that's where we're going to see the big gains. That's where we're going to see the 10x's, the 100x's. You're not going to see that in Bitcoin necessarily, right? So I think, yeah, with DeFi being huge anyway, I own a lot of DeFi as well. I personally think diversification is great, and especially in crypto. And when we have this opportunity to make as much money as we do, and as many gains, as many percentages as we can, then I think investing in altcoins, investing in these coins that have a lower market cap, that's really where it's at, right? So that's why we talk about altcoins as much as we do on the channel. So. Yeah.
All right, and speaking of Altcoin Daily in the chat, you guys are a blue chip chat. So with that, you know, you said I like it. I like the basement chat though. Now Altcoin Daily, what are some of your favorite blue chips? Personally, I don't even want to say it because chat will make fun of me. I like Chainlink and Uniswap, but those are two of my favorite. Of course, I like Solana. What are some of the blue chips that you like that get you excited?
Great question. Great question. I ask this to almost everybody. Variation of this question I ask to every single person who comes on my channel. I would say, blue chip refers to just the more quality projects, the more valuable projects in anything, not just crypto. In crypto, since everything's so nascent and new, it's hard to say what a blue chip is this year might not be a blue chip next year. Like I'm sure when they bought Bcash and Litecoin, that Genesis fund, maybe they were more blue chips then, and then going 4 years later, or a few years later, they're less blue chips. Now, as far as like blue chips, I mean, it just like give me a category. Is it DeFi? You go with the ones who've been on DeFi Pulse or making all these partnerships. You go with the Aves, the Compounds, the Uniswap. I like that one. The Sushi Swap, I think, is a blue chip. There are tons of them for the Metaverse tokens or the play to earn games. There's the Axie Infinity. There's the Decentraland. I mean, quite honestly, on our channel, because we talk about like high caps all the time on my channel, we're often talking about the blue chip ones because quite honestly, a lot of people own those. They're not going to pump as much as some of the more micro caps, but they're the more quality ones and they're safer to talk about. So there's a lot of blue chips in the DeFi NFT space, and Bitcoin's definitely a blue chip. Ethereum's a blue chip, stuff like that.
Well, like you said, they are safer in the space. Carlos Velasquez in chat, snoozer chips, D's. You know what? Chainlink's going to hit $50. I don't really ever do price predictions. I leave that to the guests. Chainlink is going to hit $50. DZ said it. Not anyone else. I'm the one. I'll take the hate if it only goes to $48. But I firmly believe that Chainlink will hit $50. Now, just last question here. What percentage? I'm going to ask everybody here. I know we like to diversify. George, for instance, says 50% Bitcoin, 25% Ethereum, 25% alts. What percentage, I don't want to get too bogged down, but what percentage of Bitcoin and not Bitcoin do you like? I'll start with you, Altcoin Daily. What percentage of Bitcoin do you roll with?
That's such a good question, but it truly is just, for each individual person, depending on your situation and your risk tolerance, it will be very different. There's nothing wrong with just, stacking sats, going all Bitcoin. It's a great way to, not get poor slowly. For me, I like a little bit more risk. I think people who make content every day, we like a little bit more risk because we see the opportunity in the market. I think for new people coming in the space today, you definitely don't want to discount Bitcoin. For me personally, I take a lot of, like you say, we can get a 10x, 50x. I agree with you. I take a portion of those profits sometimes and put it into Bitcoin because I think, Bitcoin does still have a, good decade of bullishness. You know what? Here's the thing. In just the next 6 months, it's going to be more, or 6 months to 9 months, 3 months to 9 months, is going to be more advantageous to get less Bitcoin. That's just a fact. We're the tail end of a bull market. If Bitcoin goes to 100,000 or 200,000, it's just like what, 1, 2, 3x gain just by holding Ethereum or Cardano or Polkadot or Avalanche or anything even less than that. In mid caps or low caps, you're going to get much higher gains. Now, the Genesis fund, the picture you showed us, as you can see, they're still holding Bcash, they're still holding Litecoin. So a lot of these projects potentially will not hold value in a bear market. So it's always smart to practice proper money management, have a plan to realize profits. But as far as like how much Bitcoin I hold personally, I do hold a lot of Bitcoin. It's, around 50% maybe.
All right, around 50%. Busy, what percentage would you give to Bitcoin? Just quickly here.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it fluctuates obviously based on how I see the market at the time, but usually it sits around 20 to 30% to hedge my bets and keep a stable portfolio in such a volatile market.
All right. And Jeb, what about you? What would you say for Bitcoin?
Yeah, for right now, for us, we're around 55% Bitcoin, and then the rest of that's diversified amongst a ton of other of the top 10 mainly. A lot of that's in Ethereum. We have some, Cardano, even got a little bit of XRP now. So mainly Bitcoin. And the reason for that is because we believe that no matter what stage of investment in cryptocurrency you're in, you got to have a philosophy for how you're going to work. For example, Warren Buffett said, you know what? I don't do tech stocks. He has barely beat the S&P 500 for 13 years, but you got to admit the guy does know a thing or two about the stock market and how to invest. And he says, hey, have a philosophy. My philosophy right now is, hey, I've already made a good amount of money. I want to kind of protect myself and continue to build a foundation. So I'm pretty heavily invested in things that are going to have stable returns. And I'm not looking for, 100x, but that's not the position everybody's in. And then, like Altcoin said, you have to tailor your own philosophy to your own desires. So I've set my portfolio on money management up to tailor my desires. And that's exactly what you guys need to do. But I think it's very important that you do have some Bitcoin, because I know some people that have none. I personally think that that's a mistake. It's the original. And in my opinion, I think Bitcoin and Ethereum to a certain extent act as a solid foundation that allows you to take those bigger risks in the altcoins if you so choose to do so.
All right. And ending around the blockchain here with Ben, what do you say for Bitcoin? What do you like?
Yeah, so I'm tired of arguing today, so I'm not going to go after Jebb on this one. But
Gonna wave his newspaper at me again, huh?
Oh Lord, he's going back to that, to the old man. Yeah, okay. I ain't got time for it today. But what I will say, I kind of like, there's a part of what Jebb said that I agree with. Like, you should have Bitcoin, but I think it's totally okay not to start out with Bitcoin. If you go back a year and a half to 2 years, yeah, I had almost zero Bitcoin in my portfolio early on, and I used all the altcoin gains that generally outperform Bitcoin to move me to a place where then I could get Bitcoin and use it as a hedge, because I know it's going to not drop as much as altcoins. So, it gives you a little safety there, but I think it's totally okay if you're new to crypto. You don't have to start with Bitcoin, but ultimately I think everyone in crypto's goal should be own at least one Bitcoin. Full Bitcoin. If you have to use altcoins to do that, then that's a good way. For us, I was just looking at the numbers. We were 33% for a while. We're actually 25.54% Bitcoin right now and 21.6% ETH. I think Bitcoin and ETH should balance out to about 50 to 60% of your portfolio, and then whatever you want to do after that is on you. But I will say, kind of like I said on Pump Show this morning, about 5% or less of your portfolio should be dedicated to like really, risky projects, things outside the top 1 to 200.
All right. For those people who thought Ben was a monster who didn't like Bitcoin, there you go. You heard it from the man himself. And looks like Ben Armstrong is undefeated today. Ben, you won your own show. You came back. The Braves got a World Series. You're about to go to Vegas and play in the World Series of Poker. Maybe the wins are just going to keep on coming, man. Go ahead and give the people some parting thoughts.
Yeah, guys, I know I've been gone a lot lately, and that's not like going to be the norm going forward. We thought when we started planning all these trips earlier in the year that we would be in a bear market by now, and we're not in one yet. So, that's good news for everybody and good news for crypto. But I do got to say I miss you guys when I'm gone. Obviously, the show on Pomp today, I think it went very well. And, if you didn't check it out, go check out his channel and watch that. He does have good content. He is a Bitcoin OG. So a lot of good stuff there, and we'll have him on the channel soon. And, you guys, we're all on the same side. Just remember that.
We're all on the same side. Great parting thought there. And that's all we got time for. J-Chains is hosting tomorrow, I believe, and I will be doing the morning stream. And then you get to see us at the meetup. So I'm looking forward to that. All right. Until next time, DZ out.